Hello everyone. This is a spontaneous video and it is not going to be edited because, well, it is spontaneous. Actually, about half an hour ago, I tweeted an announcement and talked about why, as of last Monday, October 5th, I have been a proud homeschooler. And that brought many direct messages and even emails, people wanting to find out more. They wanted me to talk about it. And I actually publicly told everyone that it's not a good idea because I just had a glass of wine to celebrate some of the accomplishment as a parent in the past few weeks, and it's not a good idea to record a video under the influence, and I'm one of those people who can be easily influenced with even only a glass of wine. So here it is. I made myself an espresso here, my customary espresso. I consume 2-3 of these every single day. I know it's bad, but hey, everybody should have a few vices. That's one of mine, not the only one. And yes, we have been looking into homeschooling for the past several years, okay? For the obvious reasons. I know that my regular audience, viewers, they know all the good reasons, all the justifiable grounds and reasons to pull your child out of the system, a system that is out there to brainwash, indoctrinate, police, not really nurture and educate our children out there. It's basically the system where you put your child in, okay? And by the time your child grows up and comes out from the other side, it has turned into what I call AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial in terms of all these indoctrination and all these conditionings to remove, take away our innate ability to engage in critical thinking, to rely on common sense and pair it up with everything else that we learn, and all the other reasons that I'm sure those of you who I care about, those of you who I don't care, but those of you who I care about already know. So I'm not gonna go and give lectures of why I have been looking into homeschooling. What prevented me from moving forward with this after conducting so much research was actually a combination of several reasons, okay? One is we only have one child, so no siblings, and my daughter just turned 12. And for me, socialization is a very important component of development, a child's development. And not having that at home with other siblings, not being in neighborhoods where she's exposed to a lot of kids, that presented one major obstacle that I thought was preventing me, and I believed it was preventing me from pursuing homeschooling. Another reason had to do with the choice or the type of homeschooling. Way back when we were in Oregon, and when I looked into homeschooling options and started looking for various parents, homeschooling parents, networks, etc., I saw that there was not much available other than online stuff, and the only physical networking potentials, opportunities had to do with certain types of homeschoolers. Not that there is anything wrong with them, but there are people who choose homeschooling for reasons such as religion, okay? And they have the right as parents to do that. So they want their children to learn whatever it is they are learning based on a certain religion's principles. Okay, and that becomes the background. For me, it came down to, well, I don't want to switch from one indoctrination to another, whether it's the indoctrination from the public education system and also the privates, because they are almost identical. You come across very few schools, private schools, I guess I have looked into them, I have tried them, that are that much different than the public education system. Actually, saying education itself just makes me cringe, because what is education, right? And or certain parents who have a very structured, rigid point of view or philosophy of life, and they want their children to grow up and get their schooling based on that particular philosophy. And that was not us, because you know me, my background international, and I'm agnostic. I believe in God, but as far as being officially following any organized religion, I have not done that ever in my life. I have studied religions, and all the main religions, major religions. I respect people's religious point of view, because that belongs to them. No one has any rights to criticize, patronize, or put down, or even elevate, whatever it is, someone based on their moral religious philosophy. That's one of the things that we are entitled to have in this life, our own spiritual belief system, and it's nobody's business, and I totally believe it. And mine as well is nobody's business. So whether there are people here watching saying, oh my God, you're not this religion, you're not doing this, I don't give a bull crap. I am who I am, and I am entitled to have whatever belief system is spiritual belief system that I want to have, I am apt to have, and it's nobody's business. And the same thing goes for you. Your religious beliefs is only your business, and you have all the right to have them. You're entitled to have them. And you and we are entitled to also make decisions based on our belief system. Now, this whole notion of what are we going to do, okay? Here is the state of the public education system, which is ridiculous, from Common Core to federal government dictated, insane, illogical, irrational practices is out for us. That's what we decided 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. Well, then the private schools. Well, some private schools, they are out of range in terms of their cost, so expensive. Some of them have waiting lists, and there are these women who are pregnant and they put themselves on the waiting list, so when their kids turn 6, they can go. And for me, that's like, phew, I'm not interested. What is this, you know? I mean, they treat it like like these Ivy League universities out there, colleges out there, which is so totally not for us. It is not, it hasn't been a good fit for us. So whether you like those or not, I am not saying anything. Again, you're entitled. You're entitled to have your point of view. And if you think those are good, there is nothing wrong with that. That is your belief, but that was not our belief. So all these reasons said, okay, for now, one of the things we will do is we will travel internationally, and we will spend a couple of years in this country, then maybe another year or two in another countries, and experiment and choose some of the best ones that fit or comes closest to fit our liking, what we believe is a good institution or organization or a way, a path for our daughter's education. And we did that, and actually it was not a bad experience. As a result of this, my daughter got to learn one language fluently in addition to English, and she started on another language on top of that, and she is getting to the intermediate level. That's Russian language. And it was a great experience in so many ways, because just the fact that I was able to expose my child to different cultures, different religions, just that alone expanded that lens. They made that lens wider, put it in the more landscape viewing. Not totally, but to a certain degree, so that she didn't end up becoming this person who has these blinders on and sees only one way of life, whether it's the same socioeconomic class within the school she goes to, or the religion, or the culture, or even the political philosophy. And we knew that that was temporary. Well, everything came to a halt once this COVID hit us. And also because of the health reasons, my husband was diagnosed with ALS, etc. I talked about this in my previous video. We had to come back. We came back to the United States. Right away, I knew that we could not, and we did not want to, go to Oregon, because that's where our house is, and that's where we were residents for about eight and a half years, because of the governor and the insane COVID measures there. And we selected Florida, both for the reason of healthcare, availability of clinics for my husband's situation with his health, but also because it was one of the states, it has been one of the states that hasn't been as much into this COVID craze, such as California or New York or Massachusetts. And we experimented initially with a private school here near our house with good reviews, and unfortunately for the physical education, they have this mask and the physical distancing, and you know how I feel about that. And but we said, okay, just for socialization component, a few hours here and there would be good. And that was a bad idea. That was a very, very bad decision. I'll be the first to admit. Number one, just physically speaking, the intake of oxygen being reduced by using this muzzle, okay? That's number one. Number two, my poor child, within the first few days of going for the physical attendance, she started having all these zits and pimples and breakouts all over her face. Her skin started getting infected wearing that thing for 5-6 hours. I said, no, that's not the way. I am not gonna do that. Let's take a step back and let's research. And with that, I started looking into the laws here in Florida, and Florida seems to be one of those favorable states for homeschoolings. And not only they have the pure homeschooling, when your child is with you, you as your parent have to work with your child until they become more independent, more mature to pursue their own grade level or level projects and assignments, etc. They also have the system they call the hybrid system, meaning there are those facilities, those groups, and they have licensed scientists, licensed teachers, licensed linguists, etc., who provide homeschoolers with additional opportunities where your child can go several days a week, in some of them 5 days a week, several hours a day or full day, and they get to let's say work with some NASA scientist on a certain scientific project, or a math scientist or a historian on Civil War, etc. Okay, so it's actually very interesting. After doing a lot of research, we actually pinpointed a really good one that seems to be a great fit for what we are after, what we believe as parents, and she started that, and it's been fantastic. I am so proud that we have done this. And with that, you know, between my work, my husband's health crisis, etc., we said, let's sit down and say, what are the things we want to put together based on our child? Each child is different. Parents are different. They have different goals, they have different objectives. Each child's personality is different. And find ways to make our own custom program that fits our child, my daughter, but also it fits us as parents, both in terms of background, philosophy, worldview, political view, but also financial status, of course, as well, you know, what fits within our financial ability. And I thought it was going to be very, very hard. And guess what? Actually, it is, and it has been much easier than I thought. And I wanted to talk about a few ingredients for those of you who may be considering homeschooling, for those of you who are like how I was, thinking, well, how do you make it work? From my point of view as a parent, based on my child's personality and what she likes and what she doesn't like. Now, this may not fit your whole situation, your life, your point of view, but it may fit some of your opinion or what you want. It may be closer to some and it may not be to others. For example, let me give you an example, okay? For me, and of course that's also influenced with my own background, I am a linguist. I speak 4 or 5 languages fluently, and speaking multiple languages fluently, having the ability, the expertise in language is important, okay? And from so far we have seen that our daughter, she is actually, she's interested in languages, and she's not one of the kids who have difficulties. You know, it's one of those things that some people, they learn a language second or third or fourth very quickly, very easily. Some kids don't. Well, she's good. She learns language very easily, and we saw that, we experienced that with her going to a different country. She didn't have pretty much any knowledge of that country's language, and she learned. Within a year, she became fluent, and then she studied Russian. Well, there are, of course, all these online programs, softwares you get to learn language. I don't find them to be effective. Maybe it's effective for some other people, but it hasn't been, as far as I'm concerned, for me or even for my daughter. Then it came down to how do we get a good, or more than one or two very good tutors for, let's say, Russian, which is where we are right now. Well, looking at the rate for schools that teach language, or some of them virtual online, but it's a live session, getting a private tutor, it's uber expensive. It starts from about $45, $50 per hour. So that was a no-go. But see, let's call that a problem, to say, well, when we were in Turkey, for example, we could have one of the top Russian tutors, experienced 15 to 20 years teaching, etc., for something about $7.50, $8 per hour, right? Well, this is where internet comes into this picture, saying, well, let's contact the teachers she had while we were there and see, based on that rate, even less, because there's no commuting involved, we can organize and have her take 2 to 4 hours of Russian, so she continues that. And we made it happen. So there are 2 days a week that she connects online, virtual, one-on-one, with a great tutor, and she is moving forward with her third language, and that is great. That is problem solving, because we couldn't have afford that based on that $50 per 1 hour here. So there are solutions. Now, you may be interested in other languages. The reason I'm bringing this up is open up when it comes to problem solving and saying, especially with the internet, etc., if it's outside your financial ability, you may look into a teacher in Korea or someone in Taiwan who's willing to teach for $6 or $10 per hour. If you're interested in that, you know what I'm talking about. So when you look at it first, there's a problem, and then when it comes to tackling that problem and saying, okay, how do we solve it? Open it up and don't see yourself, don't limit yourself based on what is in front of you. Look behind it, on the side, under it, way outside, thousands of miles away. Because if you really want it, it is doable. Well, the same thing is true with music lessons. My daughter, when she was in her first grade, I started her with keyboard piano, and she was not that interested, but then later, a couple of years later, she expressed interest in guitar. Again, we found an excellent tutor, amazingly professional guitarist, musician, while we were away traveling, and it was a matter of working out, coordinating the schedule, and negotiating the price to do that online. Again, 101. So again, here in Florida, the price for a very good experienced guitar tutor starts from $50 per hour, okay? And they cut it to 45 minutes, and they allow the commuting, etc. Well, again, that is expensive. And I'm sure it would be expensive for a lot of people, but being able to find a guitar teacher that is incredibly good somewhere in the world, because language is not a problem, that kind of communication doesn't present itself as a problem when it comes to teaching music. In fact, I think of music is another language, just like you taking Spanish. You know how it is when we say it is good to do it with this immersion program and have your tutor not speak your native language, because then you learn much faster, because then you don't keep falling back on your primary language and use it to ask questions. It forces you to learn the language, and that's exactly true for music. You don't need to speak the same lingo with if that tutor is very good. So with that, all I'm trying to say here, with homeschooling, we have like a cardboard, and we put in there, okay, 2 to 4 hours of music lesson, 101, a tutor, live, online. Then you get 4 to 5 hours of foreign language. So hopefully by the time in 2-3 years, she will start the 4th language. Then there is the hybrid program where they offer engineering subjects, and she's only 12, but she's very interested in robotics. She has taken many robotic camps and courses, not only here in the United States, but around the world. Here is that, and the literature and history, and it's just amazing, this particular place that she goes to. And so you have language, you have music. Then you find out where are the places networking for children who are homeschooled, and they can get together and play volleyball, which is what she's interested now, and tennis, because she has been playing tennis. Well, this cardboard now is completely filled and very strategically scheduled based on also her input, and it's much richer, much better than any private school or public school can ever offer to any child here, or based on my experiences abroad. And it was not as difficult as I thought it would be. Anyhow, I wanted to share that because I am proud. I'm proud that I made that leap, because something, not justifiable, something kept holding me back on this. And my child doesn't wear mask, and the like-minded parents and these engineers and scientists, the ones we work with, they are awake. They are like us, okay? None of these mask business and insanity business, so we don't have to deal with that. and I'm proud. I have all the rights to be proud because I kept doing this. You know, when you want to go and swim and the water is cold, you're on some beautiful beach and you take 2 steps forward, you're like, ooh, it's so cold, I'm going to take it 1 step backwards, and you try to get in and immerse yourself in that cold water, and it takes you a while. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. And I wanted to share this because I know, just like me, there are so many of you out there who have been in the same position. Should I not? How difficult is it? It is not. Once you make that decision that you are going to make this happen, and what is the best way to make it happen, and you get into it with that attitude, with that resolve, you can make it. No matter what your philosophy is, you can make this happen. And yes, I was one of those parents saying, well, I am not a good teacher for children this age. I have done many lectures in universities with adults, but the patience that is required to sit with your child and go through the homework and then file all, I'm not gonna do that. Well, with this hybrid program, that is done by people who know how to do these things, okay? Like-minded people. So there was a solution. There has been a solution for this. Everything has a solution. All it comes down to is saying you're determined and you're gonna find that solution, then you'll find it. And sometimes you have to actively participate in making that solution feasible. But again, it's within your ability. It is within our ability. A few weeks back, I had an episode. I'm not even sure right now if it was open to public or was it like preview and only available at Patreon and Newsbud. I'm not sure, okay? I can't remember. However, I talked about making the decision to remove myself 90+% from online, Twitter, etc., and put that time instead into real activism. And real activism starts with our own lives. It starts with our own marriages, our own relationships, our own children, their education, okay? Then the activist grassroots groups within our communities, etc. And that's exactly what I said. And I said this thing of being glued and spew all these activist messages on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and tuning in to this YouTubers and that YouTubers. Not only really, it does not and it will not help the cause, the macro cause. Those of you who are with me on the macro cause that I have been talking about for years, then we won't go anywhere. We won't get anywhere with that, okay? And the hypocrisy of it all, all these losers that I see who have done nothing in their own real lives, who are running YouTube channel or an Instagram channel or a Facebook presence on activism. Look at them carefully, dig up, okay? Research, see what these individuals are in their real lives. Do you see people who are doers with their families, with their children, with their trade, with their job, with their work, with their businesses, okay? Are they implementing, however little, things that they are preaching about? So don't waste your time and your valuable hours tuning in to a six-packs Joe who's a wife beater, okay? And who's telling you, yeah, man, grab your gun. They're coming for you and your children. And they're gonna vaccinate you. AK-47 is the answer. Those of you, there are people who fit within that category of people. My audience is not there. Some of them accidentally stumble upon this channel on YouTube, but immediately it becomes pretty clear that we ain't got nothing in common. So either I have to block them or they go elsewhere, because let's face it, this is not politically correct. And again, I don't give a bull crap what people think. I just say what I believe. I have always said what I believe, okay? We are not all equal. The laws should apply equally across the board, the justice system, but there is no such a thing as equality. Even as far as I'm concerned, for those of you who believe that, okay, our Creator, God, puts each one of us with our own characteristics, with our own strengths and weaknesses out there, should, if you look at it, say, are we even born equal? You know? No. I'm not saying, oh, some people are better than others. No, I'm not saying in terms of better or worse, but the fact that some of us have healthier system, genes. Some of us are more intelligent in terms of IQ, raw IQ, okay? Some of us are talented socially in terms of we have these communication or charisma or skills, and some of us are good in analytic stuff. We have our own separate different things. And even within that, within the society, I don't hold in the same regard someone who steals, someone who's a wife beater, with someone who is a very decent person and works hard and is a very good spouse or a very good parent. Do we treat them equally? I mean, when you are saying, okay, here's my kid's friends and my kid is going to go to their house. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely preoccupied with first finding out who are the parents. Are we looking at a pedophile father or a brother who is high on acid? You choose as parents which household do you trust your kid to go and have a play date, right? Do you treat the candidates, the possible kids, friends for your kids, all equal? No, you don't. And if you tell me you do, first of all, you're in the wrong place, get out, go away. But if you do, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's not because you are someone who sees yourself as superior. No, because you care about your kid and her safety. You want to make sure that your child won't be harmed going to a household, right? To play with another kids. That's reality. Anybody who says, no, that's not the case, all right, again, they're on the wrong channel, they're in the wrong place. Same thing applies with everything. I was chatting with a friend in Florida and he was giving some names about YouTubers. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Well, some of them I have never heard of, some of them I have known very well. And once I started giving some background, objective background on those people, he was flabbergasted, saying, wow, how can someone be so amazing, you know, on YouTube and say this, and I'm exposing that, and this is the background, okay? I said, well, that's the nature of these virtual reality that has been created with the birth of internet. But yes, we can look into backgrounds. We can. It's no different than sending your kid to a house that you have checked to make sure that your 9-year-old going to play with Jane or Mary is in a house that is safe, that she's not going to be raped, that she's not going to be given drugs, okay? She's not going to be bullied. You look into that. Well, exercise the same caution when you're selecting the sites you're tuning into, the people you're spending hours of your day watching, okay? Have you really checked these people out? That's for that. And no, there are many, many, many Hippocratic junkies out there. So no, I don't spend my time doing that. As I said, there is opportunity cost for your time. Okay, the time that is spent doing this and this means the time you haven't spent on doing this and that, okay? And that is whether it is your child's education, homeschooling, whether it's the your exercise, your health, your finances, being successful, doing so that you're a good provider for your family, that you're financially in a sound position. All the stuff comes with a time cost. So spend that time wisely. Don't just go and tune in and think you're involved in activism. And the other thing that is important that I think, even though it's not related to homeschooling, but I'm going to mention because this is a spontaneous video and I'm kind of more relaxed than usual, is a bunch of comments and questions I have been getting since I started my exclusive investigative series that nobody has touched ever. And that has to do with Turkeygate and the coming, very likely coming impeachment tied to this Turkeygate. As always, I'm so used to it. I have been doing this for 20 years, okay? For 20 years I've been doing this. People who are spewing hateful stuff, saying, I can't believe this. You're putting this stuff as if you're seeing President Trump guilty in this, or some of his top pick people. I report facts, okay? There has been those times that I have put breaking reports analysis series exposing wrongdoing, criminal deeds, operations that were committed by some Republicans or a Republican administration, be it Cheney, Bush, whatever. And for that, I have gotten all sorts of screaming and messaging and hate, saying, you hate Republicans, you then support bleeding, bloody liberals. Then there's been a time period where I have done reports exposing whether it's Obama or Tchaikovsky or etc. And I have had people coming and spewing hate and attack and say, you are a Repoc, you're a skinhead, you're a Republican, neocon-loving person. I shrug them all off. I don't give a bullcrap. Had I given bullcrap, you would think after the first or second or third experience, I would have become one of those team supporting, team member mentality people who say, I only report and expose one side, the left, or I only do it targeting the right, and I align myself with one party, or I'm aligning myself with this NGO or this group. 20 years of track record tells you that no. That is something I have never done and I will never do. And whether something rates within the popularity spectrum high or low, I don't care. I'm not driven by popularity. I have never been driven by popularity. And as far as my core supporters are concerned, since 2008, I have had this solid about 2,000 people, okay? 2,000 people who have been with me, supported me, have been part of my communities for 12 years. Whether I have gone after, on some issues, Republicans or Democrats or Libertarians or whatever, that number has remained consistent. Now, there are times where I report and I'm covering certain angle or issues where there is a sudden rise, okay, on people coming from Republican side or Trump supporters saying, yes, hallelujah, sister, mwah, you're lovely, you're wonderful, we love you, may God bless you. And they start following me, and then that 2,000 support groups goes to 2,800, 3,000, 4,000. Then I would be covering another one. Those people would leave, the additional 700 or 600, and they are replaced by 600, 700 coming from the other side. As I said, I don't give a bull crap. It is what it is. I have my base of supporters. Nobody can affect them. Nobody can influence them, and 12 years has shown that, okay? This is how I have been able to continue my work, continue my work as an analyst, continue my work as a journalist, Now, the same thing with Turkeygate. First of all, it has nothing to do with any party politics. It has to do with facts that are being covered up currently by the mainstream media, okay, by some alternative media outlets, because they are timing this Turkeygate based on the strategy behind it. And the strategy behind it is not accountability. The purpose, the intent, you know, when they say, is this a criminal intent, is all partisan. But there are facts in there that they're going to be using. There are facts there that they have concocted that are not facts. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So whether you like it, I don't care. I'm not putting work out. My work out, my analysis out to be liked or to get standing ovation, okay? I don't need that because, first of all, my life, the life that I have lived, the life that I have led, because there is one way of something dragging you through life, and then the other thing is you take the lead, be the responsible person to lead your life, makes those people irrelevant, okay? Irrelevant. To give you an example, not from politics. About 30 years ago, when I announced my decision of being engaged, getting married, I had people coming and saying, oh my God, there is this 30 years age difference, there is this culture. This is doomed to fail. This is wrong. And I had done my own thinking based on who I was, despite being immature. When you're 20, 21, you are immature. And based on my analysis, based on my view, no, it was right. Well, that marriage has lasted for over 28 years. Now it's getting to 29th year. We've been together for 30 years. But the thing is, their opinion, their judgment, they're entitled to it. But I don't let that affect. I don't let that affect my own judgment, okay? And then beyond that, going beyond that is, there are things that you as a person, as a human being, have control, have power on to make things work, okay? Things are not gonna be made work for you. We have to learn and understand that we have responsibility. We make choices. We pay for the consequences. We are rewarded for some good choices. We are punished. We suffer for certain, and that's how we learn. That's how life is, okay? Same thing with my upbringing of my own child. And same thing with my businesses, whether the ones that I have been very successful at outside this is not a business. Anybody who comes and says, oh, she's doing it, she's putting it behind a paywall because that's the business, because guess what? First of all, I will never lead a life to say my business is to earn, based on whatever thousand supporters, $6,000 or $7,000 a month, and that's it, that's my business. No, I am one of those people who never stop working, okay? And if money is the issue, well, my current rate, based on the latest contracts that I have completed and I have worked, starts with $135 per hour. No insurance, no health care comes with that. And of course, I'm responsible for filing my own taxes, but sometimes I get jobs that are $150 per hour. And if you look at it from that point of view, this subscription and this stuff becomes peanuts. So if the motivation is money, okay? If the motivation is business, this is the wrong business, and I wouldn't be in it if it were for money, because I do work for money. And yes, I believe that the more affluent I become for my parents, for my children, for my husband, my own household, everybody is better off, because that has positive externalities. I mean, what is the positive outcome of someone working 15 hours and saying, well, that pays for my bread and water and a room that I'm renting, and that's enough? And some people are that way. I am not. I'm always working. I have always worked. And this is not to blow my own horn, but when you put 5 languages and 6 degrees and work experience and travel, that comes with, people put a number attached to it, okay? So the number they have attached to it lately has been her worth in terms of her hourly worth is $135. That's the average, sometimes 150, sometimes 115. It is 135. And the opportunity cost of doing this is not doing the stuff that is, first of all, much easier. For me, it's much easier, and it brings much more money. And yes, I'm proud that for working hard since the age 16, 17, nonstop, I have been a very good, successful provider. There's no shame. There is nothing but pride. Should be nothing but pride attached to it. But with all that said, as far as we are concerned, what we are facing today, COVID, okay? The state of our Bill of Rights here in the United States, the non-stop assault on our Constitution here in the United States. We, the people, must take responsibility because part of it is our responsibility. We caused a lot of it. Those of you who disagree, again, I don't give a bull crap. I'm giving you my opinion, my informed, educated opinion, my analysis. We as people chose, we chose after 9/11, those of us who said, terrorists are gonna come and give us. I want some sort of safety. Even if it's the illusion of safety. Pat me down in the airport. Do this, take away my thing, but make sure there is no risk of me or very little risk of me or my child or my spouse getting bombed by some terrorist or get killed by terrorists, and I'm willing to give away this stuff. That stand, that attitude was the prevalent one, has been the prevalent one after 9/11. And when you pair that up with the evildoers, the deep state, the shadow government, whatever you want to call it, of course, we get screwed. And we played our part, at least majority did. And to say that, oh, Bill Gates or George Soros did all the stuff to us. No, first, accept responsibility. First, pinpoint all parties that share the blame, okay? Don't go put it on one side. Same thing repeats again today with COVID. We still suffer all the losses because it was not temporary. Those rights that they took away from us after 9/11, they never came back and says, okay, we no longer have code alert red or orange. Now let's put back, now we're gonna ban the FBI's national security letter. Now we're gonna tell NSA that no longer spy on all the Americans against our 4th Amendment. No, once they take away rights, it's permanent. They never say, oh, this was circumstantial, it was situational, it was for this period of time, now we're gonna give it back to you. It's gone. Same thing is repeating. They are doing the same thing with COVID. They're doing it right now. They are doing it right now. They have been doing it nonstop since February. Do we have our share of blame? Yes, we have. We do. It is up to us to wear that mask. It is up to us to not to wear that mask and make it possible. I have been making it possible. There are certain stores I don't go to. There are certain others I go to because they are not saying you must wear masks to come to inside the store. It is your choice. It is your choice to say public school, it doesn't cost anything, it gets my kids off my back, and believe me, I understand, I want to work, and sometimes it truly gets in the way. Even if my child is 12 years old, because when she's not, 9 hours in school, I have less hours that I can dedicate to be focused without getting interrupted. And it becomes so irritating sometimes. I can't even explain how irritating. I have to take a deep breath because that's the cost. But the benefit is far greater. Okay, I'm not gonna let my child go through this mask. There's another story with mask from a public school here in Collier County. I will share it in my next video. Maybe I'll even interview this kid who was expelled from school for pulling his mask to the tip of his nose and scratching the bridge of his nose. Okay, he got expelled. And hopefully I will get to interview him, but we make choices. Please, those of you decent folk, I don't care about people who are not decent. Honestly, I mean, some people may say, oh my gosh, she sounds like eugenics. And eugenics is the group that I have spent a lot of time both researching, analyzing, and talk about way back when, years ago. But no matter what the situation, there will be those groups of people who do nothing. Okay, I call them the parasitic class of society. They don't contribute, whether on moral grounds or financial grounds or educational grounds or you name it. They don't. They take. Whether it's stealing from others, they take. Whether it's bullying others, being violent towards, again, they take our safety, they take our peace. Okay, they take away from it. Whether it's by beating their spouses, whether by wrongfully collecting welfare checks, despite the fact that they are perfectly capable of working, there is that class of society. They're here, they're all over the world, okay? And I don't care about those people. I don't work in terms of these analysis. For me, I don't go to their sites. I don't want to see what they put. I don't care about what opinion they have. I don't. But outside that, and outside those 0.1% evildoers, some of them we have already put names and faces to, but there are so many that invisible, the invisible. You know how they talk about the invisible hand of the free market and let that, well, there is this invisible layer. And you will get a little symptom by Soros or Kissinger's or Brzezinski, etc. But there is a layer above that, okay? You take that aside. You put the parasitic armchair activists, the keyboard activists, the junkies, the wife beaters, the child abusers, the trash, okay? If they're offended, I don't give a bull crap, okay? I don't care. I say what I think, and it is what many people think. Some people don't say it because they want to be diplomatic, but sometimes things have to be said. Why would I care about trash? That in no way, it touches us as a society. It makes us a worse place. Anybody who says the guy who goes around and impregnates women and has 6, 7 relationship, 1 or 2 children with each one of them, they say that doesn't affect me. They're trash, and they're trash. They're trash. I call it the trash class, okay? Sure, it affects us because what they do to those children affect us. How they end up affecting those children, so when they grew up, some of them happen to be more like clones of, because it is. Yes, there is nature. Yes, there is nurture. Yes, there is this cycle of abuse. A bully father, son abusing and bullying other kids in the schoolyard is affecting us. It's affecting our children. So yes, it touches us. Now, I'm not in any position, we are not in a position, are we going to go eliminate them? No, we recognize them for what they are. The negatives of society, the trash of society, not the productive, the good part of. There's good, there is bad. There's always the forces of good and evil, okay? And then there's the forces of trash. And it is a fact of life, they exist, okay? okay? But outside that, there is this big segment of inherently, I believe, good people. Now, some may be passive, too passive, maybe too timid to take action, maybe so undecided still. But I still believe that there is so much good in the middle. And with so much good, with this big percentage of good and positive, we can accomplish a lot. Together we can accomplish a lot. Individually with our families we can accomplish a lot. As groups, as communities, we can accomplish a lot. Accomplishment in terms of action, okay? Homeschooling your kid and doing it good, doing it right is a massive action. There are millions right now in the United States being homeschooled. We have removed the access by the government, whose benefit is to indoctrinate them. We take away that access. We have weakened that evil system. That's action, okay? Educating others, working, giving employment to people. That's good. I mean, that's good. Anybody who undermines says, oh, are you saying that this guy who owns this place and he has 4 employees and that provides job for 4 people who in return provide for their families is nothing? Again, that can only come from either the evil or from the trash society. Is trash that I refer to. I think it's something to be proud of. I like people who treat their employees good, that because of their risk-taking, because of their work, 4 other people happen to have jobs. That's a fantastic thing. That's doing something. Or with this hybrid program, these wonderful engineers and scientists and teachers, capable teachers, who instead of going and getting much more money, they are doing this hybrid system and they help homeschoolers, homeschooling families. They ease their way into teaching, help them. That's great. There's so much good. I want to end this with positive. I told you I'm slightly under the influence, and I am the first to admit I've never done this before. And I don't have any notes, I don't have any bullet points. I just wanted this to be a chat, but stop going and watching and tuning in to trashes of society, or people who are spewing hate, or people who are selling you fear porn, selling you. They don't tell you, they don't offer you solutions, they don't offer you positivism of what you really are capable of doing, other than grab your AK-47, hoard food, have 2 years worth of food, shoot them, man. Anybody comes in front of your house, shoot them. Or everything is coming out of Bill Gates, and I'm doing more than actually CNN saying they're gonna take your sperm away and your ovulation because they want to make you neutered, so you, the great specimen parasite of society, won't have children, okay? These people, their entire objective is a psychopathic thing. It's bringing people and selling them more fear in order to sell themselves as somebody that they can't be in the society. I'm sorry, but many of these people will never be the ones who would provide jobs for other people or homeschool their children in the positive, good way, okay? Or contribute to the society, or the doctor who goes and says, you know, the healthcare system is so broken, and I'm telling you it's broken. And I'm gonna set aside this time and I'm gonna help those who don't have access to health care. They can't afford this insurance. I can't afford. My daughter and I, we don't have health care insurance, okay? It's ridiculously expensive. My husband has Medicare. There are people who positively, they're good people. They contribute, and there are so many of us. There are so many of those people. You're not gonna find those people out there selling fear porn on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, TikTok. That's not what they do, because they're out there doing things, making things happen, doing good things. Take that time away from the trash social media that is their platform, the deep state's platform, the YouTuber junkies. Clean, detox. You know how people go because they have to have detox from their drug addiction or the alcohol addiction, etc. I think we face this phenomena that says there are so many people who have to go through this detoxification from the trashy YouTubers and the social media and TikTok and the one-liners spewing hate, spewing fear, fear-mongering, wasting your time, wasting valuable time of people. Our time is valuable. Our children, their health, their well-being is important. There's so much to be done. There's so much we can do. Unplug, detox, and let us do things. Doesn't matter how little, doesn't matter how insignificant in the eyes of others, but even the incremental, tiniest little positive is better than no positive. And with that, I'm proud of our family, I'm proud of my daughter, I'm proud of being now among the homeschoolers. And I'm thankful to those of you who have been with me, who are with me, who have been supporting all this work, all these reports. My next report will be out on Trump-Turkeygate coming impeachment. That's going to be part 5. And until then, thank you all.